Action.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Recent Tartarians, and for those at the APM, this is Barry Sineways, Piertoreme. How you doing, man?
Hey, good man. How about yourself?
Pretty rad. We were just doing all this research and looking through all this stuff, on BLM, and one of the things that came up was Black Lives Matter and Bureau of Land Management both are BLM. And this was interesting to me because Oklahoma Native American courts deemed that Oklahoma is about 51% of it now will be under the control of essentially the BLM through not the United States court system anymore. There was a protest that happened about someone who had been raped. They said that the person who had been raped had not been raped on United States property, but it was an Indian reservation. And after that, they said the rest of about 51% of the state was going to go to this Indian reservation controlling group. And when you look into that, it's not that the Indians are getting to vote on much to control it, because it ends up being in the control of the Bureau of Land Management, which is interesting because, apparently you have some familiarity with the old BLM. And so I wondered what you thought about all that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me on. Just real quick, I worked with BLM, let's see here, 2011-ish, 2014, mainly on the fire side of things. But at that point, you kind of interact with all the different aspects of BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. Real quick, before we start, I'll say with the acronym stuff there, in terms of the Black Lives Matter and the Bureau of Land Management tie-in, I look at a lot of the goal and the agenda nowadays is to have a data saturation. So if there's something important that you don't want people to see, so let's say the Bureau of Land Management, for example, and to see what's going on with the minerals and the Department of the Interior and the land, then maybe you could, saturate it with a different type of movement. So all search mechanisms would make things blind to pull up Black Lives Matter stuff all over the place. So it just makes it real difficult to see anything in the organization. There's multiple aspects in terms of blindness. One thing is that I'd say 80 to 90% of the workforce in BLM is temporary. This means that every year they pick up most of their workforce in terms of summer hires, college kids, people in early fire careers up to a GS, even 5-6 level. And then the permanent positions are kind of GS 7 and 9 above in the fire world, which is not a lot of people have those jobs. If you're a GS9 manager, real quick, you're managing a helicopter. You're managing millions of dollars worth of resources. A Helitack base is a GS9 that I knew, and not to mention access to unlimited funds to fight fires with. And we'll get into that. But data saturation, temporary employees, it makes it so there's not a continuity of eyes on things. So there's a fast turnover. The fire world's a hard work environment. You've got a 45-pound pack. You're in some pretty warm clothes, and you're hiking up 45-degree angle shale cliffs with a tool in your hand if you're lucky, and some have a chainsaw and fuel, and you carry as much water as you can handle. It's a lot of work. You don't make a ton of money. I mean, it might be $12 an hour for some of the guys that come on. When you get a lot of overtime, but I mean, it's slave labor. I don't know. There's the mineral side of things, and then there's the land management. And what they do is they put Indian reservations around things that they want to hide. So that they discredit certain types of ideals, certain types of philosophies, let's just say the Native American ideas and belief systems. And so they know that when those people speak out about the local truths on their land and try to share the sacred objects of those lands and the knowledge that goes behind them and all the forces that tie in to make them what they are, they know people won't listen because they trash all that stuff with mainstream media. So there's BLM knows where to look. The people that run that program, they have access knowledge to the stars. They know that the stars have an imprint on Earth. So if you look up what the stars are reflecting, you can know what minerals are in the Earth. So Canopus, the keel ship, and the sign Cancer is the Rocky Mountain Range. That's the Grand Targhee right there, Canopus. And if you look at the rare earth mineral maps of Wyoming, of Idaho, you can see a lot of BLM activity. You can see all the full-time hires under the grounds out there. I've had job offers out in Buffalo, Wyoming, working underground all day. If you look at live train cams coming out of the railways, you'll look at so much shit coming out of the West right now. It's unbelievable. There's multiple things going on with it. There's a lot of good people that are blind. That's really what's going on. And there's a couple shitty people at the top. And I don't know. That's just the story of this whole damn system, I suppose. Sorry, I don't mean to swear there, but
it's really interesting to me that Wyoming, of all the places you mentioned, is the one you can't click on when you start looking into the mineral and mining operations of BLM.
Wyoming is my favorite place, pretty much.
It is amazing.
Northern Wyoming, if you ever want to go get lost for 2-3 days, just drive across, go check out Medicine Wheel, Bighorn. There's free camping all in those mountains. You can just park and camp and cook your food, and you're sitting literally on like a giant plateau, or just imagine a giant tree knob of a branch sticking out, and you can just see forever. It's in the stars that come out at night, out of this world. I've never seen so many moving objects that I'm just sitting there with my jaw dropped to the floor. I've got my 8-year-old, 9-year-old. They're, in a day of cell phones and all the distractions, their jaws are dropped to the floor. Like, what is that? I mean, there's stuff going on out there. It's beyond human.
Also, the Wyoming, ironically, is where Tartary Nova is incorporated out of, because they have the best laws in the state.
Yep. If you look at Jackson Hole and Grand Targhee, Tar is in Targhee, the Grand Tetons right there, that range is precious. I mean, it's just, it is the active expression of our system's ability to get magnetism from outside of this system. That is the entry point. It comes in at a 45-degree angle up Alaska towards Russia. That's the old area. Now that area has changed. We've seen that now bend down into modern day, almost Mongolia. Stuff's changing. If you guys aren't looking, I mean, everybody's been looking at it all. Things are moving. And when the center of a system changes, that should tell you a lot about the rest of the circle that exists around the center is going to change. I mean, it's the mind moves before the body. If the Father's moving in the sky, he's trying to show everybody. He's trying to show you right where it's all going to happen, right where it's all going to be. There's going to be no excuses. It's all in front of us. It's all shown to us every single second of our lives. But let's get back to the point here.
No, I mean, it always extrapolates, but there's something I saw that was kind of interesting looking, I guess it was the geospatial maps here. You can see how much land each one of the agencies, not each agency, but some of the agencies own. And looking, for instance, in the United States, yellow is BLM. Yellow is by far more than anybody else. The pink is DOD, interestingly enough, and the Department of Defense only owns this and that. But BLM, I mean, if you start to see how much of the middle is theirs, and then how many spotted
private, look at this. It's private out east. This is a private ownership out here, and they've got control of the whole entire west of pretty much the Mississippi. And it's a battle. You can see the battle line. So now just real quick again, not to tangent too much, but that line that runs down the middle of this river system right here shows you the two hemispheres, which you could think of the two hemispheres of the brain. You could think of the right creative force expression out there that they have control of. And then you can see they're letting that left egoic just, express the restricted antichrist energy that they're, I don't mean to put a Christ or anything on. It's just antichrist is symbolism for everything that is opposite of nature. That
And
you can see
the onomatreia. I mean, when you start looking into it sounds kind of weird sounding if you're not familiar with like 19th century esoterics, but there was a point when these people like Aleister Crowley style, the Great Invocation from Alison Foster Bailey and the Lucis Trust, which was kind of the beginning of the UN in a lot of ways, even though there was a League of Nations before it, which was already based on kind of a similar idea, which was to break away from what they thought was at the time social order that was wrong, and that we needed to have a Fabian incremental change. And so you have this simultaneous system that's existing here where natives do not follow the same laws, and they're even allowed a certain kind of sovereignty, but that land ends up, you can see the connection between the federal agency.
You know what they gave them? They gave the Indians the Department of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. I mean, that's what a joke. Seriously, like, here, guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to strip you of every single cultural value. We're going to take away your language so you can't access those thought forms anymore. And then you know what we're going to give you? We're going to give you your land, but we're going to disguise it under the mask of the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
It's also, that's a good one to look into, the BIA. So what do you think's going on with the Bureau control, and how much control does a native sovereign have if they're under the control of the Bureau? Is it similar to us?
None.
Is it worse?
Zero. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to call eminent domain on anything they want. And if that doesn't work, you know what they're going to do? They're going to cause a natural disaster. And there is nothing that stands in the way of that bulldozer right there. That is greed, that is corruption, that is consumerism, that is fear. And the Native Americans, a lot of them, there's not many of them left that are even true anymore. I mean, they're all true in a sense. We've all got it buried deep down in us, but we're so beat down, man. This whole place, I mean, those people, you get like 2 or 3 old people in the tribes that still retain a little bit of the sacred wisdom. And then what are they against, a new highway they want to put it? You know what they're doing? They're going to cause the underground areas. They're digging out Wyoming. If you look at Yellowstone Lake, if you look at the biggest aquifer in the U.S., which is the waters underneath Idaho out of the Snake River, if you look at the way the water trickle system feeds into our river systems of the East, you'll see what they're trying to do underground with the water system. It's not good. They're going to take the whole entire water system and they're going to shift it underground. So they have a twofold purpose every time they dig these mines out. And these aren't just mines, these are gaping holes. So they're going to take that lake right there. This shows you the natural drainage system of the earth and its direction. So right there, it's showing you that, water would go this way, but what do you know? There's mountains kind of poking out in this area, so it blocks it in and has to go up and around up into southern Montana. So they're taking this area right here. This is why this is their epicenter. This is their target. That's an underground base right there. That place is so fought over. Northern Wyoming is kept at a small population, and a certain type of ideology lives there. And if you drive in northern Wyoming, you will not see anybody. You won't find land for sale. They will go, this is what they do. They have sharks that just sit there. The second somebody puts something on the market in areas that they want, they snatch it up. And if they can't buy it, they'll go double, triple the price. Money is nothing when you can print it. The Department of the Interior holds the real value, which is the land. Here's the trump card. The people own the government. So they're just taking good care of it.
Except if the land goes under the management for not being American anymore. And this is what's going on in Oklahoma. So this is the...
Right.
Also,
it needs to be a fight. it will have to be the people rising up against pretty much. It'll have to be people siding with nature, saying, nope, it's not going to happen anymore. And then literally forcing companies out. It's going to be the destruction of probably consumerism, if it's even got a chance. I mean, it's the sovereign people, they're targets right now. You know, it's one of the main reasons.
About sovereignty, and what is the case for sovereignty, and why isn't everyone already sovereign, etc.?
So everybody already is sovereign, and that is the case for sovereignty right there in itself. So there is something so God always has a center and no circumference. That means the being, the creator, when you do enough homework in yourself, everything that you are, when you come to choose your identity, you choose with the thing that makes the choices, because whatever part of you is making the choices stands in the center. Everything bows to the center on the left and the right evenly. And that's the environment. That's what we sit in right there. We sit in time. We sit in Ma. You look around and Ma makes everything for us, and Pa talks about it. I mean, it's the story of the author, the gold. You don't have to polish gold. It's just always shiny. It fucking just loves to just sit there and talk about itself. I mean, that's the gold.
What about volcanoes? Are volcanoes a big part of this land fabrication thing? Like, I mean, it seems like Yellowstone is it.
Yes.
Everyone's saying, what's that all about? How's that?
So the first cauldron of this entire system that we call Earth is the Great Lake area. So if you look at the Great Lake area, the original flow was the Appalachian Mountain region. So you have a giant cauldron. This cauldron gave everything, the entire Earth, its land. Okay, so Mars is the muscle. If you look at your arm or something, if you didn't have muscle right here, you just have skin on bone. So there's no press up. You need that push. The things that build the muscle in the body also can show you what happens inside the earth as well. But there's a very important part about this. It's what makes your muscle move. Your muscle doesn't just move on its own. You have to provide it willpower to get it to move. So the first movement was this giant cauldron. You can even throw in the Great Hudson Bay, and you can make this thing huge, like probably 1,000 miles in diameter, with this being the southern edge of it. And just look at the mountain ranges tell you the story, and the field in the middle of the mountains show you the eyeball. So the center of the eye is where it emanated from. And if you look at all the mounds, all the mound areas right there, that's showing you it's just, these are sacred areas where people were growing their food. The volcanic ash is so rich. If you look at the deep sulfuric, and I live in Kentucky, northern Kentucky, so I am right on the edge. And these geological zones that are in these areas are the oldest zones on pretty much the entire Earth. Some of these geological layers with fossils in them in southern Indiana are the oldest crustacean layers that we even have access to. And I've been grabbing stuff from them. That's it. I go out to highway cuts, and man, I'm looking at these fossils that just baffle me. I mean, I got a bunch in here in the damn room here. So if we ever need to look at that, we can check that out. But
it's been pretty crazy when I've been just in the same area looking over these lakes. Brittany just mentioned, and we'd gone to some of these Great Lake areas where the Triple C, I think they're called. It was like a conservatory group that FDR had gotten foundling children to work in, and they were getting paid. Yeah, and you start figuring out how it all went. And you're like, oh my gosh, because all these lake regions that have these lakes that have river lines and that were connected to each other, all the way to Canada. Jean Cartier came from North France and went through Canada and went all the way to Minneapolis or some part of Minnesota. So when you get the idea of how vast these networks were before they started damming things up and then breaking up the regions in ways that they could control. I mean, imagine how fast you could travel. I mean, looking at like stories like the mighty Mississippi down the Mississippi River.
When I worked for the Corps of Engineers in Eastern Kentucky, and I was a dam guide. So it just so happens federal jobs, all the federal agencies. I've worked for six different federal agencies. So I've been bouncing around in the GS system. And that system, you in each position step up, you need a year minimum in the grade prior. So every time you get a grade, you'll be eligible to apply for pretty much a step up somewhere or a grade up. And that's brought me through. It started out with the military from 2001 to 2007, and that's how I saw that the whole thing was corrupt. I was in the beginning in Iraq in 03 and 04, and I went back in 07 with KBR, Halliburton, and I saw the corruptness of all that crap, and I quit. I just dropped it. They were given first 88,000 tax-free, and 4 months in, they wanted to give me a raise at 150,000 to be a logistics coordinator, and I was like, man, I'm good. I saw exactly what happened, was going on over there. I mean, it's just not good. You don't want to have, I don't want to say you don't want to have that on your soul. That's not a good way to put it, but I just didn't want to create that. That's a good way to say it. I just didn't want to participate in it. You're responsible for what you participate in, and that's in your soul. You get one set of choices you get to make. You know, the choices I made yesterday, I can't go change that. That is in the past. That is in the system of the one. The mono, the moon. So there's a system of storage. All the knowledge, all the wisdom goes to the moon. So that's okay. You know, I mean, whatever we did yesterday, we can take that knowledge and we can do different things today in our now. And that is Pluto. That's your character. And that's where we all strive. And that's our lifetimes of character built up and crystallized. But yeah, man, that's what this fight's about. That giant, it's so the cauldra's now shifted, so you can measure this shift by the longitudinal precession across the Earth. So if you notice that, you look up your coordinates where you live right now, and then if you go back in time and you look at maps, let's just say the 1500s, you'll notice a decent shift in longitude. So the same longitude you live at now actually pulls up 120 miles to your west. So that's showing you something about this line, Shiva's hair that moves in the air. These are areas of sulfuric gas. So they're centered on argonic lines. And if you look up the magnetic grid, there's a deep green argonic line going down the Mississippi area pretty much. And you've got two different declinations of magnitude coming off that area right there. You've got the blue and the red, Jupiter, Saturn. I mean, and we're in a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. So what happened that year right now on the winter solstice node on 12/21? So that's like this is a designer system. We're in a game.
You know, I normally I was going to try to focus more on just the
right. I'm sorry.
Stuff. No. Here's the funny part. Now I can't help myself, and let's just do it, okay? Because like at the same time, something just like in terms of astronomy, right? Not even just astrology, astronomy. Yesterday, NASA posted a spark. They say sparks of panic that everyone's star signs may have changed, but the truth is more complicated. Of all things for people to freak out about NASA doing. So numerous new articles have suggested that NASA has all of a sudden changed everyone's star signs because they've added that there was a lost Babylonian sequence about 3,000 years ago. They noted correctly that NASA has spoken of the phenomenal axial precession, and so now they're talking about 13 signs, which goes into the Mayan idea of the 13 signs as opposed to the 12. I know, it's going to be okay. I know, but other people don't know. And they think we're crazy. They think we're crazy for talking about astronomy right now that NASA has put out. Both astrologers who think we're crazy because we're talking about space, and both NASA think, people who believe in NASA are confused because NASA is now telling them essentially that they have to recognize that giant objects have physical characteristics which interact with their existence. I mean, it apparently bothers people.
If anybody's listening, the best advice, just a quick one sentence way to look at the whole thing, anything that you look up and you can see is the reflection of it. If you want to know anything about the actual object that's causing the reflection, you need to look in the 180-degree opposite direction. That's just so that's an understanding of the way. If people just, they call us crazy, they tell us, they just laugh and do some name calling thing, and it's really funny because this whole entire system literally doesn't care what they think. It just continues to love them and give them love. So that's what I just love. You can't argue with it. It will always be the storyteller. It's exactly what the Antichrist system is that they've developed. They're taking the whole entire
if
system.
you act weird, you're different. That's not a good thing in this idea. You need to be normalized. You need to believe everything everyone else believes, and you need to not question it at all. Which is I don't even know how to do it, so I don't bother. But it is interesting because I think it makes a really boring kind of person out of most people. I mean, I get why people say NPC.
It's mundane. The most rare degree in astrology is 150 degrees. There's only 2.5 degrees of wiggle room before you get into different geometric shapes. So, I mean, 150 degree quincunx or an inconjunct angle is combining two things that don't go together, two elements. So, for example, water, a negative thing, and fire, a positive thing. Those would not go together typically. And that is what an inconjunct is, and it takes wisdom to pull that together. If I was going to say before I lost my train of thought before, if people actually studied how light refracts, how the sight sense system works in our eyeball, people would know that they're looking at a reflection. So that means whatever, it doesn't matter what you look like. None of this shit matters. This beard, this is a joke. This is seriously a reflection of what you are on the inside. If you want to change anything that you look like, you got to go inside yourself. You got to change it, and then it appears here like a magic game. I mean, people think it's a joke.
I used to never believe in astrology when I was young, and this is kind of funny. I had like nonstop, "What's your sign?" asked by girlfriends. Yep. And I was like, this is just ridiculous until I got to about 14, 15. Well, I was young. 14, 15 years old, I found out that I'm born 2 minutes into Pisces on a cusp. And so I was like, well, this whole thing seems hokey because it's like 1 month to another month. Like, well, if you look deeper into it and you start to see things, I mean, it's not so much about predicting the lottery or anything like that. Although, I mean, it is useful to understand flows and things. I noticed it the first time I ever got on the 405 freeway on a Friday before a full moon. And I was like, look what everyone's going where they're going right now. And this is facilitating it, but it's also, so is existence. And so then I started looking into Mayan astrology because I was like, well, this is different. So maybe if I'm going to look into it, I'll look into a different one. And Mayan astrology is very interesting because instead of 12 months, 31, 30, 27, 28 sometimes days in a month, you don't have to worry about that. You just have 13 moons, and each one of the moons is a full moon, except if you have days at a time. At the end of the year, you have a 5-day party to just make up for the fact that everything's a little off. And you don't ever have to worry about it again because he's like, well, just have that. Yeah, call that a loss. And everyone seems to, be really all of a sudden the Mayan calendar became so important. I mean, even just a week ago, they were saying, oh, remember that 2012 thing? It was actually 2020 or 2021 or something's going to happen, well, Mayan calendar still seems to work. So I like that it has this spiraling system of 20 and 13 that you can actually do a root check and you figure, okay, well, this is me and this is how I'm going to correspond with today's date.
I have it in a modern, let me show you the modern version here. Let me see if I can.
As he goes behind his Japanese umbrella. I have one too. All right, it's practical.
All right,
let me zoom you in. Whoa, there you go. That's perfect. That's just like in the love bug. Can you go a little deeper into? Can you bring a little closer to the camera so we can see some of the sigils?
Oh man. My camera's horrible.
Oh, I see that.
Sorry, man. I got to go in reverse. There it is.
I see what's going on, though. You've got the star signs from the Occident along the outside, and then there's 20 and 13 on the inside, and then you can – does it move, or do you just figure out how to – yeah.
So God,
Wow.
it's so hard to, but yeah, if you look, let me see if I can get see the 3D. See
We're
the
gonna have
3D.
to, you're gonna have to send me some. You're gonna have to send me some photos of it later because it's a little
of it.
It's causing. This is causing a signal glitch.
Lens.
This is a signal glitch if I've ever seen one before. Oh, but there you go. Yeah,
is
there
it
we
really?
go. Yeah. But having said that, the Mayan calendar should glitch space time, but it looks great. I see Pisces.
Yep.
I see Aquarius.
Yep.
See,
so that's from I think we discovered that's from an old fair back in like the old Paris fairs or whatever the hell, or it was some kind of mechanical booth they had set up, and you'd put in your data in a mechanical system by a push, and it would rearrange and according to a different pin set system, it would rearrange to the day that they were on, and it would show you your aspects of your next year coming up, when you would hit your trine, when you would hit your square, just important things to in between some of the major players in terms of the wandering stars. But yeah, we could even tie this in to BLM. I mean, when you get right down to it, I'm telling you, the stars are the map. So if you look in space, if you look at the stars that geographically connect to certain areas on the Earth, you can actually see what they're after, what they're mining. So if you know that they have a 100 square mile underground complex in Buffalo, Wyoming, and that's just first of all, what they show you on the internet and what they actually have is not the same thing. Of course, we know most of your audience should be accustomed to the fact that we live in a real manipulated data world, and really the only way to actually see anything is to go experience it yourself now. And that's kind of what we're
and with two people who completely disagree with you, both of you. You need to have, it's only really, you need other people who are like, nope, that's not what happened at all. Like if you don't do that with them, then nothing's going to get done. But
exactly.
I wanted to also spin it back around a bit to the tribal consultation part of BLM, because if you look, if you look into the UN,
we need to get back to what sovereign is, because
exactly, because if you look into what ICC is doing, the International Crimes Courts in Africa, the UN has been setting up. BLM is kind of like a model for that. You can see Israbit, Charlotte Israbit had talked a bit about what happened in the Congo in the 60s, and if you look what happened to America in the 1880s on, Buffalo Bill on, even just there's first thing is we have to acknowledge that these are nomadic people. So you have a people that decided at one point not to leave because they were afraid if they left again, that when they got back, there'd be houses built where they used to be. And so that's kind of how the Trail of Tears starts. But when they're marched away from where they were living to their new place, it wasn't where they used to go. And from there, then they were forced to stay there until they were finding oil, when they were forced to move to a new place. So now you've got to disenfranchise people. It might as well be from Africa, or they might as well be from Wisconsin, but like they're not in either necessarily because they've been moved to some other place. Now, this is where I get kind of curious in terms of they're explaining to these people, they're like, well, you actually have sovereignty that we have to take away. So what is it about? What is sovereignty really? Actually, you know what? Let me read.
So the biggest
after,
Go ahead. Because while you're pulling that up,
you go for it. Yeah, I'll read it after you finish.
All right. So pretty much my position, I actually I have appeared pro se in court situations multiple times, and I actually have a court appearance next week on the 20th of July, and they want me to do it over Zoom on a teleconference. So I'm probably just going to fight that in terms of I don't participate in digital platforms at all. I don't have access to Zoom or a camera, even though you're looking at me at one now. This is private information as far as they're concerned.
And it's open source. I don't have Zoom, I mean, I'm a Linux
user. Exactly.
Zoom.
You can't make me come on your platform and meet. Now, if you're going to have a judgment, you need to meet on agreed terms. That's the only way you can agree that you're going to come to some kind of judgment on anything. So here's the problem with sovereignty. Right away, they send you some kind of court paper from some attorney And you actually have to be part of the bar association to be able to make those kind of moves, which means a person like me or you who hasn't passed the bar exam, which is really if they've got an extra ticket available and you're going to be part of their club. So pretty much you can only appear pro se. We can only defend ourselves against actions. So that's in itself right away. When you go to stand on your own, you have to know that you're defending yourself. You're defending what you identify with. So right away, this is going to be different for everybody. You need to be able to have confidence to explain to another human what you identify with. This is a key principle. First of all, the confidence can be seen. So whoever's asking you these identity questions, if you reply confidently, that's part of your identity, is that you're confident in it. They can see that. So whatever you do stand in something, stand in it confidently. If you believe in a full capital system of your name, all capital letters, that's, if you want to agree with that and participate in the legal name game with the corporation, that's okay. You know what? I have a legal name that I participate with, but guess what? I have authority over that legal name, not an executioner of will from the state. You tell the Father, the cap it all system, he's the judge, not this guy who's barred. The real Father, he's perpendicular to the bar. He's like this, right here. So that's a plus sign. That's gold. That's Pa. So he's the authority. The capital stands for the cap of the all. The missing capstone is there. It's missing because it's willpower. It's the future. It's the 10%. It's the tiny little bit of percent that makes what we call the reflection of the stars when we look up. So if somebody had posted a while back some meteor strikes that go in a certain shot out pattern from Appalachia area, I'm sitting at the center of that circle right there. Right now where I live in a place called Crestwood, Kentucky, on the crest of the wood. It's the oldest root system on this entire system, and I'm sitting right on the seashore of it. So this is why I have access to all of this stuff that comes out of me. This isn't a human. This isn't me. This just comes through me. This isn't me trying to tell you anything from a human level. This is all just a gift.
You're just a virus vector who considers that they're named Barry.
That's it, man.
Let me read this thing because I think it's pretty funny. Because like in terms of what rights people have to give up, this is basically, it looks like a form that's informing them.
You got to sign your rights away.
Your sovereignty. So it says federal tribal consultation. Federally recognized Indian tribes are sovereign nations exercising government-to-government relationships with the United States. Where the public lands are concerned, these relations usually take form of a legally required consultation, and in most day-to-day consultation with tribes, the BLM field office manager serves as the official representative of the United States, which, okay, so again, I'll repeat, form of legally required consultation. So no matter, they're saying you have sovereignty, you have the capacity, you have the obligation on top of that all to tell us everything you do. You need to consult the United States on all governing that your government that we've recognized does. For the BLM, the essential reason for the Native American consultation is to identify the cultural values, the religious beliefs, the traditional practices, and the legal rights of the Native American people, which could be affected by BLM actions on public land. That is so brutally fascinating, right? It just says, hey, we're going to do this horrible thing. Here's why. And then at the end, its excuse isn't really an excuse. It's like, and because we need to know how it's going to affect you, the things we're going to do. We're not going to stop.
Yeah, man, it's ugly. You know, and one of the worst parts is they just tell you what we're going to do, and people just say, okay. I mean, what the fuck? Like, what does it even matter if we're not going to do like anything? Like, I mean, we're here. If you got a body, you're here in the doing zone. I mean, this is the place where you do stuff. So it's good to think about it, and it's good to feel it. But if you combine feeling and thinking, you can do the third thing, which is the Trinity, which is the triangle, which is a movement of spirit. So, I mean, that's what people need to do, man, because they're given, you have to actually jump into their system to defend yourself. So that's the whole point. Like you right away, you're never, first of all, you're never going to sign a paper, because the second you start signing papers and doing that, you right there are entering their set of rules. So you're agreeing in their set of terms by the very nature of defending yourself. So if you choose the defendant position to defend yourself, you're already saying that you want to defend your legal name. That's okay if you can defend your legal name. So you need to tell them you don't have authority over that. You don't tell them what they have authority over and what they don't. But what you do you ask them a question, and the king has to answer the question, okay? If he's going to be the king, the axe king, if he's going to drop the hammer and be the axe king, he needs to listen to the queen, which is you on your quest inside. Question, it's a question. So you ask the king a question and you say, who has the authority to use this name in commerce? And you're all done. You know what? He's not going to tell you that he has the authority, because you give up your own authority. That's the whole point of that system, is to get you to you are your own king. You're your own. You have access to the Father within you. So
what are you trading by doing that, though, right? Because it looks like they're saying that they're going to give you benefits. Is there any benefits that you see in losing your sovereignty? Like, what you get to drive a Honda? A Honda? What is it? What do you get?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like and they've really got them in a bad position, because you know what they've done? They've gone and because I used to work in McDermott, Nevada. I probably shouldn't. Well, yeah, it's cool. You know what? I don't hide from anything. So I used to work in McDermott, Nevada, and there's a beautiful tribe of Indians that live out there. And they hired a very competent and able man of the tribe. You could almost just say a lead warrior. And they gave him the most fattest government position. He bought the nicest truck, the nicest house. And some of his tribe didn't live too well. I mean, that's all I know. So what they do is they take the most powerful and able ones, they give them bread, and then they've got them. And now we've got these other parts to take care of. Most people won't listen to him anyways, so that's a plus. And now these little youngsters here that got a lot of energy, boy, we got to keep our eyes on them. We're going to have to come up with some kind of network of rules here to keep them in line. So as you can see, this is just a slippery slope. Here, give up they've already given up their sovereignty by accepting all the government money that you get through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And when you moved already off your sacred land, you already succumbed to, like, they already had concepts in their soul of land ownership. That wasn't even a thing. I mean, you couldn't own any piece of land. Somebody try to go make your own earth and make your own dirt, wind, water, fire. You can't do that. That's not yours. That's all a gift. I mean, to talk to a Native American who's philosophically sound, he's going to ask you one question all the time. How many sheep can it hold? Right. Everything is functional. Like, how many sheep can it hold? And you know what? It's a beautiful expression of the sign Cancer. There's a pen of sheep up there in the stars, and they let the sheep out. And that shows you right there. Either the Christ can guide the sheep to become goats and to sit at the top of the mountain, and they can listen to the people who have the truth, or they can go against it and get caught up in all the sound and distraction of the world. There's the sound and there's the word. You either get your light from a reflection, or you get your light internally from its original source structure. If you get your light from a reflection, you're not going to have light coming up, because the reflective light's going to be bye-bye. And you're going to need somebody that emanates a light in order to get reflective light. So this is stuff you can't stop. You can't stop Jupiter and Saturn from conjuncting this year. No matter how Billy badass you are as an elite and how much you can watch the stars, you can't stop it. You know what my ascendant is? So my ascendant is Libra sidereally as the choice-making creative expression of the soul, which is the creator of the I. And it's at 6 degrees Libra, and it's at 39 minutes into Libra. It's the first decan, which would be Venus energy. And then it's also right after the equinox in terms of the fall, the harvester, the judge. And guess who I have sitting only 3 minutes above that at 6 degrees and 42 minutes? Saturn. That's it. I have Saturn within 3 minutes of my ascendant. In Earth time, that is going to be, it's going to be 10, 12 seconds. Somewhere in that range is where I had an exact conjunction with Saturn exactly on my ascendant. So I am here.
Interesting that I put the quote from J.P. Morgan. Anyone can be a millionaire, but to be a billionaire, you need an astrologer. And another quote he has, which is millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. Similar. It's something he, it comes up often. The people that are very high.
He's buying silver. He's bought all the world's silver right now. If you look at the biggest world holder of silver, you're looking at the Morgan family.
Right. Yep, and they only owned 9% of their company because the Warburgs, Rothschilds, etc. But let's do a thing on minerals then, because if this is such a huge thing, and they look at humans clearly as a property to be refined, a resource to be refined, kind of like a mineral and a mineral.
We're crystalline beings. We're very high value. They stack us on highways, and then they harness the energy off of highway car systems. If you look at the way they build cars, they put you on a rubber system so that your field is going across another field, and you have two fast-moving currents creating a canal spiral system of energy, and they just harnessed it through deep cement ground systems. I mean, I'm telling you, this place is wired. We're wired for sound. They are sucking everything we have out of us, but you have so much light inside you. You are the creator. You got as much as that as you need, and just keep sending them love. Say, here you guys go. They don't like that. They can hate it all day, but you can just keep sending them beautiful big baskets of love. And there's nothing they can do. There's not, literally they get all huffy and puffy and I just love you. You just send them more. It has to be real love. You can't be like a sarcastic hate in your heart. You really got to feel love for them. You have to look at them as a little child just opening their eyes to the world and, oh, look at all this stuff out here. We got it so figured out. And then all of a sudden there's this thing called somebody who looks inside themselves or at the stars or if you're looking at the patterns behind everything that's here, you're looking at this things that last forever. You don't take with you your body. You take with you the patterns, the unseen things. Those are the things outside of time. Time eats everything else. Pluto just is so hungry. He's just a beast. He eats everything. And you better believe that's a good thing. You need a gallbladder inside of you. You need a solar plexus. Your solar plexus is this massive black hole system, and it eats energy and that you feed it. And they just don't want you to feed it that because they don't want you to have any kind of your own character or your own critical thinking or your own set of ability to make choices, because then you'll be an individual and you'll have an eye. And look at potatoes. Potatoes have eyes. What happens off the eyes of a potato? You can grow a whole damn new plant. Christ said, you were the branch, I am the vine. I mean, this stuff is just, it's to the point where I don't even try anymore too much to like go out and talk to like get in people's faces about it, because people don't care. You know what they care about? Grey's Anatomy's on at 7:30.
I recently rewatched Holy Mountain, the Jodorowsky film, which is it kind of sounded like your conversation, but like it took longer to do, like, because it was just, it's like a long movie version of the conversation we're having, but it starts with very similar things. We've got civilization collapsing, love and hate, love triumphing, and also ironically the 12 signs, the characters in the film all represent Mars, Apollo, Pluto, Jupiter, Neptune.
Yep.
And each one of them is, Mars is this woman who's making toys in the 70s and 80s so that the next generation can be prepared for the war that's coming. So they make G.I. Joe toys.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
It's all like Nightmare Before Christmas. For them, it's just you're doing your job. you are to do this. That's all it comes down to. It's neither good nor evil. It's just simply the K order that they have to be a part of.
It is.
And that even, I was going to use this. Hopefully this isn't just such a huge segue, but going back to the vril technology, the UFO technology for ionic lifting, we've seen, I guess I can find the solid state patent and I'll put that up in a second. But first I wanted to show federal helium operations of BLM. So knowing about helium-4 and 5 and the radiated helium that can be used for nuclear and apparently, according to sci-fi stories everywhere, space-time bending at CERN, so that you could have Mandela effects. I found this to be very interesting because there's not a lot of articles about all the things. It's not like, BLM recycling aluminum article. It's like they have their articles are, here's our geosat, here's the tribes that we manipulate, and here's our helium. Here's our
they tell you it, right?
helium page. Like, whoa, what do they want with helium? What's that all about?
Yeah. So helium, I'd say right away, once you get in the noble gases, the important thing to remember with the gas that a lot of people overlook is its ability to absorb light. So if you look at hydrogen, within hydrogen or the hydrogen, you have the I-beam or the one. So the whole entire system, starting with the gases, is filtered down. So if you look at helium and where helium sits in the table of elements, isn't it like the second or third? I mean, it's real close to the top of the gases. I'm not the best on the table of elements. I have a working knowledge.
Lithium, beryllium, boron. Yeah, it's the second. Yeah.
So, I mean, and if you look at, we can just break it down right away. To me, it's Uranus, it's consciousness, it's nitrogen impregnated with hydrogen, and we call it helium. Nitrogen's got the aspect of movement. So hydrogen is going to have the aspect of the stillness, that one ionic bond that is a crystalline chemical structure that is really beyond any kind of words we can do liberty with here. I mean, definitely I'm not qualified to talk on it, but the hydrogen, I have faith. I know that hydrogen in itself is the air. If you look at the Sistine Chapel, you look at two fingers almost touching each other, and then you'll notice that there's air in between the two fingers. That is the Christ principle. So the air is the gases. So the gas principles of this system are really what this system's all about. The woman is that gas system. So everything that you can see that comes out and gets a body of sound, that's all in Pa. That's all going to be in the metal where it all.
Getting a little glitch from you there. Hello? Can you hear me? Something's muting on you. Maybe click on the window and reopen the window. Refresh it, maybe. Strangely so. Oh, it says you're muted. There's a mute button somewhere going on. Do you see that? Wherever it says mute.
My bad.
There you go.
All right, my back.
Yeah,
Sweet,
yeah.
man. My bad.
I was like, I guess I could just I could sing a song while I wait, but no, I'm glad that worked out.
So what did we do? We were on the gases. So there's this
fusion cycle.
There's this chemical I-beam net, and I think it's the longitudinal net that rotates. And this is, if you imagine the balloon stretched out, it's shorter on the bottom and it gets fatter as you go to the top. So, and it's why you find all the land, most of the land in the northern hemisphere. So you don't find much land in the southern hemisphere because you're not very high up on that balloon push. So there's not eminent forces pushing out of the surface. When you get up to the north, it's really going straight up. If you look at the trees in an area, the trees show you the way the field is going. So out west in the mountains, you're looking at lodgepole pines, ponderosas. The thicker the thicker the breadth of the tree, the bigger polarity structure, and then the straightness of it shows you the tapped in structure. So that shows you you're sitting on some straight up and down fat pole lines of building moon energy, deep moon energy. And then when you get to the wavy oak branches and all the left and the right stuff out east and all the deciduous and all the leaf system, you're looking at the spirit system, the left and the right. So that's the system of the two. And then you've got the center system, which is really Polaris way up top. And that rotates, that's the rose cross. It goes through the 4 north stars. And that rose cross is symbolic of coming out of the blackness. Blackness eats all light. The first color that comes out of the black is the red. That's why the infrared. Fa is a very important sound. That's F is the 6th letter. A is the first letter. 6 plus 1 is 7. 19 backwards is a 61. COVID backwards is divorce. I mean, it's all over. The symbolism,
I hadn't heard that one yet. I like that one.
Symbolism's gross. It's everywhere, man. If you look, every word backwards is showing you a lot. Anagrams show you a lot. The structure of the sound. Anything you see saw, S-A, that's to get. You can know that if you have saw and you have A, you're getting something. Whatever that sound is, you're getting something. And saw turn, you get a turn. You're on Saturn's matter system. You're on his one ring to rule them all. If you look at the way matter goes out from Saturn, Saturn cycles are 30 years around the ecliptic. That's why your Saturn return on the Earth system that you're borrowing from Saturn out here. So you're on a 30-year spin because you came from your daddy, which was Saturn. So you got a 30-year revolution on this ball of matter thing. So that's why your 30-year Saturn return is your big revolution of your body system, like what you've put down in the doing system. How good have you used your Mars? How much have you expanded it? The 5 and the 6 system. You know, the animals are, if you look at the 5 system, the Mars, I mean, they already figured it out, man. They got a plus symbol. They are already outside of the 4. That's why animal consciousness, they're all connected with each other. That's why the plant kingdom, it's all connected with each other. All the higher forms, the higher up you go, depend upon the lower forms. The plant kingdom depends upon the mineral kingdom. You know, you got the mineral kingdom, that's BLM down here, the grazelands, underground. The highest octave of a field happens in the root layer of the earth. This root layer right here where you grow potatoes and carrots and all the tubers and all those things right there are the most earthly things you can put in your body that give you the energy of this system that you most need in this system. All the other things that grow in that layer are the highest octave of energy. They're right at the crust. They're at a changeover. Creation happens where 2 different things meet at the ocean shore. You see many different species. Well, the surface is the shore of space. I mean, it's just, we're sitting on in the now on that constant surface. It's the surface. We're the face of the sur. We represent its character. It's how it reflects. I mean, and that's why they're trying to destroy us so hard during this year, because Jupiter Saturn years are metal nodes. That is a pole year. Everybody should have things happening in their neck and their spinal system. You have a tree growing up your rock. So Jupiter is the tree that's conjuncting the rock. This is symbolic of an energy growing up your spine system, penetrating you through your reticulum and the vagus nerve area in the back of your skull. If you look at this area, that connects every single part, muscle twitch of your body. That's the willpower creative expression system that sends out the signals to everything what to do, and it's based upon the choice. So that's connected to everything. That is the magic area. That's what they do in Masonic rituals. They do special things to those areas. They break things in those areas to get helium and hydrogen and nitrogen to all do their things inside the story of Golgotha, which is the symbolic of the Christ energy returning to the grounding system of the head, because our true head is on the ground. Our earth on our feet connects us to the current, to the all. That's literally where you think from. All the thoughts inside of your head, all the feelings that you have, that is all from inside of the earth, and that's an energy you carry from that system right there. So our head Our grounding system is what we look at, what we see, taste, touch, feel. That's what builds up in our brain, is all that moon system, this system of the one here that we come in and we learn about ourselves. We learn about the one. We learn about the universe. We learn about the Milky Way and the galaxy, the milk and sugar, the milk and the honey. I mean, this thing is right out of a fairy tale princess book. I mean, it really is. I mean, and people want to, the joke's going to be on each person. We're all our own judges in the end. That's just how it works. No, there's no cosmic thing that comes down and sends you into an eternal flame. There's no coronavirus that comes inside of you and kills you. None of that is real. The only thing in dream world, because you're living the pipe dream here, is light. So you actually have to believe in something first and take the placebo. You have to play along. Like you said, you have to play your character part. You know, we need the Hitlers. We need all of the people that have done all of the things they've done. Unfortunately, we need these ridiculous events that are happening right now. They're going to kick us into a state of gross sarcasm where we just can't take it anymore. Like if you, like you're showing, they're showing all the stuff right to you. They know nobody cares, and they know nobody could even really figure it out now because they've got us in a debt slave system train. Now I guess they're going to take that away. They're going to take our debt slave toys away. And what are we going to do now? I mean, oh no. I mean, it's going to have to start from the people. The people are going to have to grow a pair. I mean, all of us, we're all going to have to find your identity. It's a time where if you don't have any willpower to live, you're going to get the coronavirus. I don't even know what that is because I don't believe in it. I go around, I go to a store like today. So everybody wears a damn dumb thing, and I go in and it says required. And this guy, I love feeding birds. And I spend a lot of money on bird feed every month, probably. I go in every couple weeks. I walk in the door. I say, I'm not going to wear a mask. And he's like, come on in, sir. I mean, you know, people, it's gross in a way because, you know, they like money. You know, I mean, is that really a spiritual victory right there that you let me in the door for my defiant decision because you like money more, or because of my ability to stand on my own and not participate in something? I mean, even their own wit, it's a litmus test. If they tell you it takes an electron mask to see it, your body that you got here in a sound body is an electron mask. Like, that's the joke. Like, you were walking around in an electron mask right here. So you need an electron mask to see it. It's the corona. It's invisible. That's why all the dumb news stories they come out with are like, it went in half the patients and then it couldn't be seen. They're just doing dumb story. I mean, it's so like, it's such a waste of time. The only thing real anymore is to go out, look at the damn butterfly landing on the branch, look at its wings. What kind of colors does it have? How many feet does it have? How does it use its feet? What is it flying for? Does it think? What is it looking at over there? I mean, these are all things that should drive you inside, not the things that are of the world. I mean, it hurts my heart, man. It's tough, you know, seeing most of our, what we call our truth family. We're just, I don't know, man. I love everybody.
It makes it so hard because for me, it's like a lot of people are skeptical or interesting to talk to, but then a lot of people are critical to a level of pessimism that is self-destructive.
It is, man.
It doesn't help them realize all these freedoms that we're looking for. You know, I could spend all my time making videos about every horrible thing I ever hear, but it's like, that just starts a panic, and it's better to be like, well, here's the solution to the horrible thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, here's what I tried, and, you know, this is what it did for me. You know, that's the way, you know, I try to do that with a lot of people. Like, hey, you know, I approached it this way. And, you know, it went a little smoother. Man, because I tell you, with access to everything I'd claim that I have access to, I struggle as among the most. I mean, it's hard, man. I have my own battles all the time. I have huge emotional battles. I have a deep passion for this system, you know, so I can easily get caught up in the passion of it all. You know, I can be real fired up and just want to flip the whole table upside down because I mean, and that's my Saturn on my ascendant. It's my nature, you know. It's really Uranus is the table flipper, but you know, Saturn's Uranus's little bitch. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm out there like, bah, 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 bah. I mean, it doesn't work with everybody. You know, I have a lot of people that can't stand me, and I'm okay with that. And I love them the same.
I have a lot of people who can't stand me too.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. I think we've done a pretty good one, man. This has been about an
Yeah,
hour.
man.
I wanted to ask if there's anything that you feel like specifically, you know, to you want to close with. But right before I do want to say to everyone, do check out the information about Oklahoma. Actually, I think this is really important. That BLM, and I mean Bureau of Land Management, has matters, and they've taken over. They've taken over a lot of the United States, and now they're going to start removing parts of your United States. And so you should wonder. I'm not telling you it's a good or bad thing, honestly. I mean, even after this whole conversation, we talked a little bit about the benefits of denaturalization and sovereignty, but we also mentioned that maybe you want a Honda. I really don't know what they're offering you. You'd think this.
Yeah,
would be,
yeah. They're gonna cut their checks off soon. I mean, that's
yeah.
That's
you need some liberty. You need some liberty, people. So, all right. Sorry. Is there? But beyond that, like, where do you think? You know, what's the best advice that we can give people that are standing on the edge of sanity and death in life right now?
That's a great question. So this is a very, 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 first of all, everybody, the biggest thing that can help get you through this is you can know that one of the rarest things and the most real currencies that there is out there in the cosmos are slices of time. So when you become a true awakened being and you look at all the aspects of reality, you realize that experience are some of the most important aspects of the all, of actually being in it and feeling it, from the feeling element, from the thought element, and from the body doing element, physical action. So you sit in times right now that are very much uncharted. These times have been fabled about for a long time. It's what most of our mythology and religion is pointing towards, are the days we actually sit in right now with bodies. There are long, long lines right now to get bodies in this system because of this energy. We sit on a spoke. So when you're on a spoke of the wheel, just look at the word spoke. Well, who do you think's speaking? Look inside yourself. It's all up to you. Whatever you unfold from your seed right now can be unfolded. You have everything available in there from the entire cosmos. So that's why they're trying to distract you so much. They don't want you to play with that. They don't want you to put down your shit. They want you to just to keep staying with it and to not look at yourself. You need to look at yourself. This is a time where you should be executing massive amounts of willpower. You should be looking at things that have sway and power over you in terms of your decision-making process, and you should say, nope, I'm the boss, and I make the choice on that. That goes in my temple. That doesn't go in my temple. I love you, you know, hey, I've had enough of this, but I just want to talk about it. You know, it's bothering me, and I'm just trying to be real with you. It's a time of communication. It's a time, if you're not communicating and you're passive right now with any kind of partner or relationship, man, it's going to be a freaking wildfire. I mean, I'm as smooth as I try to make it. I just like to throw a couple bonfires in just to, you know, train both sides and get a big amplitude in the center. It's hard out there, people. I mean, come on, just don't take it so hard on yourselves. But you got to start somewhere. You can't just keep watching TV, eating GMOs, thinking it's just gonna, like, God's gonna come in on a white horse and like easy button. He sent you. I mean, we are the perfect thing sent for this time. There is no other cosmic seed that could have filled these positions that you're sitting in. So you literally got sucked in the whirlpool of energy down on your ascendant with all of your aspects, and the universe spoke and it said, you know who can do this? This thing can do this right here, this being, this entity, this set of the ability to make choices. We've looked at everything that it's done. We looked at everything it wants to do in the future. Boom, right there. Watch what happens. That is what you're striving for. You're striving to be part of that system, and you already are in it. You already did it. If you weren't here right now having thoughts and feelings, you wouldn't be. Like, you wouldn't have. We're working from the future into the past. Boom, and we hit the past. We're light. We went off from the head into the future thinking about stuff right here, and we're getting sucked back into the waking moment. And then you're marrying everything that you have been creating with your will, with your intent system. You know, when you do things, do you do it for people because you love them, or do you do it because it's your duty, because you have to? Like, what are your reasons for doing stuff? What, it's all gonna be thrown into a set of spiritual body coming up, and it's happening, man. So just do some work, people. It's gonna pay off a million time fold. If you, I mean, whatever your reason is, just ripple little ponds around you. You don't, I mean, don't draw unnecessary attention. You know, don't try not, if you have an opportunity to speak. You know, if you don't like wearing a mask, you know, try to find a nice, healthy, loving way to show the world that you don't like wearing a mask. I struggle with that. I just want to go bash stuff in with baseball bats, but
you gotta get the plague mask, man. As long as you're wearing the bird, it's always fine. But
yeah, no,
give a little bit.
I have a voodoo mask. I might wear that. It's got holes in it, and if they tell me that's not a mask, I'm going to tell them their mask isn't a real mask. That can't stop shit either.
Yeah, you know,
then I'm not loving.
You could wear a muzzle. Yeah. There's no pore density regulation. You can wear a dog muzzle, and you might as well, because, you know, but I think if you really want solid pore density, you don't want it just to be this thin little mask. You want something that's about 11 foot long and wobbly and shaped like a dick. I'm sorry. Yeah. Only makes sense. Oh, I was worried you were going to show me a dildo. Thank you. That is a better mask. You should definitely wear that mask. That's the kind of mask you wear to 7-Eleven.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're going to, I don't know, man, anymore. We're in that Saturn energy. It's going to rule restriction in terms of tropical. But if you look at the sidereal, the choice-making system, this whole thing's actually happening Sagittarius sidereally. So it tells you the real thing behind the scenes is in Jupiter's. The spiritual religion will win this. They're going to sell you government winning this. They're going to sell you a victory of the federal and the state over religion. But what's going to happen in the backgrounds is this is all actually sidereally happening in Sagittarius in its heart. You're going to see Jupiter, the real Jupiter, come out. So this is going to be a really neat hidden battle here, because we have a whole, on one side, Saturn rules Capricorn, and tropically they're saying this is happening 1221 Capricorn, and if you go back 27 degrees in a sidereal position, you're going to see some early Sagittarius, even late victory Scorpio. You're coming out of the waters of the battles, and you're going to be in the first stages of the mutable fire. So, I mean, this is huge, man. This is what node we're throwing down in our metal. You actually have a gold metal opportunity right here. You have real gold inside of you that you can make right now with this sidereal position with choice. So if you make the right set of choices here, you can build a really nice set of metal for yourself inside. It's all about inner gold. If you look at what reflects the light and gives life to this system, it's the gold. The gold doesn't take anything for itself. It gives it all away. It says, here you go. You know, but it takes it back. You know, it does put things where they go. It likes to organize stuff. I mean, it's pretty fun, you know. So the gold system is very much, you know, the gold and the silver. There's a story there, a real big story. And then you've got the hydrogen sulfuric gas sitting in the middle that does something really neat to light. It's the thing that absorbs light. People need to stay strong. Use it. I mean, the biggest battles, just use it as more fuel for your fire. It's a bigger meal on your plate. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a piece of light and you're absorbing all of this experience and you stayed strong and you're like, this is dumb. None of this really scares me. Is this almost over? And, you know, if you're literally not affected inside of who you are, this is just making you stronger. This is just making the virus that is the cosmos system of the ebb of knowledge moving back and forth on it, learning from each other. You're just absorbing their best attempt at messing you up. And you know what? It wasn't even close. It was never even close. I mean, seriously, like they really thought they had it this time. They thought they had us cornered. You're like little children playing on the playground in the corner with your crayons, sticking them up your nose. You don't even know how to use the paper yet. Like you don't even know you're at recess. The teacher's about to come out and say, hey, we got to go back into kindergarten here. I'm preschool, really. We haven't even started school. You can't even start. We are seeds being germinated right now. A seed, not all seeds get to be a plant. It's just, go look at nature. There's a lot of walnuts out here in my yard. I can actually take my camera. We can go around and I can show you millions of walnuts. Probably, well, that would be a long time, but let's just go with 1,000 walnuts, okay? There's only like 4 walnut trees that are mature, big trees. You look up at the cosmos. We got a lot of stars up there. Everybody's got a job, but you know what? There's some really bright stars up there, man. There's a quote in Job. You know what it says? God's sitting there with Job. Job's just lost everything, right? He's had everything stripped away. And I'll hurry up here. But I love Job, first of all, is the first piece of literature we were given. So we were sitting there. We had nothing. And then the book of Job, it just poof, right out of midair. That's how the story goes, pretty much. Somewhere deep in history, we get the book of Job. So the book of Job, it's a story of your spinal system. If you read it from the way that the chapters work, it's telling you about the gases, the metals, the earth system, all the elements. It's a real deep story. So anyways, Job says in there, can you guide Arcturus and his sons? Now, this is where astronomy comes in. What does that even mean? Well, how can the Bible mean something to you if you have no recollection of what Arcturus is up in the sky? This is God asking Job a question. So if you're the type of human that believes there's this God thing that's going to come, it's going to ask me a bunch of questions to test me. If you believe in that system, wouldn't you at least want to look at some of the questions God might ask you that are in there as examples? No! You want to watch Grey's Anatomy at 7:30. You don't want to go look up Arcturus and discover anything about it. So Arcturus, 257 miles a second. Our sun averages about 10 miles a second. Arcturus, 257 miles a second. Your car, in a whole hour, 60 miles an hour. There's a lot of seconds in the minute and then in the hour. 257 miles in a second. That's Arcturus, baby, right there. So that's a really fast thing in our cosmos system. And God asks man a question, hey, can you guide, actually? Can you actually go pick that up for me and just show it where to go? Show the suns where to go, because this thing's going really fast and it's going to drop all these suns here. So can you show them where they're supposed to go based off of your spiral life-giving pattern? Because you're the fastest thing out there, and it's a lot of work to guide you all the time. So that's the willpower of the creator in the center, tied with...
That is an amazing interpretation of Job. I love that.
That's
I love
just
that
one. That's like
seven.
Job. That's seven words out of the book of Job. That book is loaded down.
Job's always been one of my favorite, but I like the interpretation you gave. I had never really heard it that way before, and it makes perfect sense.
Can you? The last one I'll do here is out of Job. It's pretty much my favorite one. I have a lot of Taurus in me. It's a Taurus sign. It's Orion in the Pleiades, and it says, can you loose the bands of Orion, and can you bind the sweet influence of the Pleiades? And it's showing you the two spheres right there that work with each other in terms of a positive and negative expression on light's journey into our system. It's showing you that Orion is this thing that sits closer to us, that has a real tight grip on us here, and is like, what do they call this? Oh, the hunter. Okay. What's he doing? Oh, he's chasing after sense data. Okay. So can you loosen that thing that's, think of an animal. Animals are predictable. You know why animals are predictable? Because all you need is a little bit of food, and they'll do whatever you want to do. I can give you many examples, and that's pretty much what we call humans nowadays. You give them a little bit of food, they'll go do whatever you want to do. Everyone's got a different type of food. I got my things I like. I really like a good nature walk, or I love my sense data categories. I have my own things. I'm not sitting here saying I don't get involved in sense data. It's a beautiful world, and you need it to survive here and to love it and enjoy it as the air in the middle. You're the air in the middle. This is you know how the story goes. When you get down to a molecular level in space, there's nothing that actually touches any, it's all space in between. I mean, that's literally the Sistine Chapel space in between the fingers as the Christ in the center right there. So, I mean, it's showing you where the air, there's two different types of air, the air that hasn't been in the fire yet, and then there's the air that's been through the fire. It's a neat thing. The lukewarm air above the fire is what Christ says when it talks about the lukewarm center. That's the middle. That warm air pocket up top, I guarantee you there's actual systems there with experiences like this, with warm air coming in, melting ice pockets up there from some kind of warm heat rising system right above our North Pole system. And this is why on certain areas of the Earth we see a lot of different UFO type things around certain areas, because these positive and negative nodes of our system are literal light portals. There's crystal, clear, and there's sulfur gas, black. That's it, man. That's all you need is a spark right there. And that's it. And then you got fireworks, light, sense data. You got light lines going through prisms, making freaking eclipses at certain times. And it's beautiful. Why do you think they call it a Soros cycle? Why do you think the man who rules the world's name is Soros? It's all there. I mean, it just takes a little bit of homework everywhere. You can just connect all the dots. I do this part-time. I have a full-time debt slave job. I got a family of 6, I guess now.
Wow.
5 animals.
Talk about.
I literally, yeah, man. I mean, I do this. I just love it. I love the stars in that arena of knowing yourself. I have to know. If I don't, my last name is Morse, means death. So the system of death around you, everything goes to death. Death is the keeper of it all. So that's where it ends up. It's a beautiful word. It's a beautiful sound. D-E-A-T-H. T-H is thought. Ea is the movement of space, which is water. That's why Ea, John the Baptist, the water god. And then they got the frickin' D, which is 180 degrees through into that system, into the movement of space through thought. So that's the realms I come from, which is very much Saturnic, and I have Pluto conjuncting it, sitting 3 degrees above as well. So I'm a Pluto-Saturn conjunct in Libra. And yeah, man, it's a neat story, dude. We should do this again.
Yeah, this has been amazing, by the way. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about BLM and your life, man. All the things that you're looking at. It's really important. A lot of people, would say we're crazy, like we said earlier. I don't care. I appreciate being called different, and I hope you take it as a compliment. That you're definitely brilliant, and you're definitely on a track to finding truth in places people would just ignore. And so,
same to you, man. I mean, you're not out there preaching the paradigms. You're in the deep, dark corners just as well. So, much love your way, brother.
Word. I wish I was sometimes, because I want to wake up people in a most confusingly tired state. But
I know.
I try. But this is easier for me to just talk to people who are already aware and they're just as confused as me on what the next thing is. Like, I think we need to just keep running forward. We can't always slow down and try to help, people that refuse to go forward. I don't know. So we just have to. And people,
the only way in this system, the only way it'll ever work, if you look around, if you look at the way the world works around you, we're real. We can figure this out. Look what happens. I mean, people are only going to listen to you if you got something that they want. So if you're out there emanating the most joy you've ever felt from inside yourself, and you're not hiding it, and you're expressing the true person that you want to be, which will exactly put a smile on your face. Everybody out there that has illness and sickness, that's only because you're not being what you're supposed to be. There is deep needs for you here, and me here, and all of us here. We all have a set of principles that our stars have told us that this will make you healthy. This won't make you too healthy. You'll have to overcome this. Man, this will really make you glow right here. I mean, we should all you should crave to know that about yourself. You, as a thing you get to play in here, as this light body vehicle thing we call a human, is the most technologically thing we have access to in the whole entire cosmos. This is a library card, and the light that goes, the electricity in the library card is what opens up the library, what you can actually see. Like, I don't look around and see a couple trees and a bird flying. I mean, I could never tell you what I see. It's just way too many words. As you can see, I can barely stay on a topic just because it's just everywhere. I mean, I have such a love for this entire system that it just pours through me. And you only get what you can give too. So clean your vessel, empty some of your cup out, empty some of that stuff out that needs to be emptied out. I mean, just make some room for something new to come in, clean some spaces. Look at how gardens grow. They don't grow in a pile of weeds. They grow with like a cleaned out, pulling some weeds. The electricity and the magnetism, it needs to focus on one thing, not a bunch of dumb shit and like then this awesome thing. I mean, people have to think about stuff. You gotta look at it, you gotta feel it. I mean, you gotta feel what it's like to be the plant. Would you like your leaves chewed on by raccoons? And no, because you're gonna die. That's what's happening to me outside, so that's on my mind. So I had to make a damn system to protect my plants, and it's just, I don't know. I have no tomatoes right now because raccoons love tomatoes.
Dude, what's your squirrel's name again? You have a squirrel,
Charlie.
right? Charlie the squirrel.
Yeah, if we meet earlier, he was playing from 6 to 7 right here in the camera, hopping, doing flips, and falling asleep while I was petting him. But he's sleeping right now. Let me get a quick shot of him up in his cubby if it'll. We're going to try to see if the video will work in here.
I love pet squirrels.
Dude, we've had him about a year.
I want a pet deer. The Chinese have these little chihuahua-sized deer. I'm thinking, someday if I'm really successful, I'll have a deer, and people will know I'm successful for that deer.
Buddy.
Oh, Charlie! What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
I hope I didn't scare him.
No, he's good. He's pretty comfortable.
He looks adorable.
I mean, he's about a year old, and we've had him since pretty much he was born. We don't keep him. This is just his playhouse. He gets to go wherever he wants. So he's really cuddly and awesome. And squirrels are really amazing animals. They used to be America's #1 pet before the 1920s. Then they saw how much love and compassion they poured out, and they took them away. But man, we'll do
I knew that.
Yep, 1920s and before, America's #1 pet was a squirrel.
Well, I want to show some random I just found. So I got a deck I'm about to pull off, but I wanted to, that was beautiful. It reminded me of something random. I got a Salvador Dali tarot deck. And so while you're doing that, I was pulling out a few random cards. So the one I got was, first off, the height. I don't know if you can read that because of there's too much.
You got me on. Hold on here. I got to figure out what the heck I can only see me.
Let me do this. This will help. All right. So here I've got this freaking effect that's making it hard to read. But this is the High Priest. Card, and you can see it's the mother holding the boy. Then
nice.
Then this I got was the Page of Swords, which and then the third was
we got a High Priestess, a Page of Swords.
I want to say this is the 13, but that's wrong. Is that right? Because I see a 6.
Is that the World card? That's Pentacles. Is that the 10 of Pentacles?
1, 2, 3.
Is that the 10?
Well, yes, 10. 10 of Pentacles. That makes sense.
Nice. 10 is so Pentacles are Earth, and 10 is perfection. And really, 10 is Pluto for me, and the original Earth is the crystal. That's a very Plutonian card right there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A hilarious sync just there.
That's awesome.
So okay, guys.
Page of Swords, man. That's Saturn right here. Woo! I got your guys' back here. We'll fix this system, and a young, simmer down hot sauce. Like we'll get there. That's pretty much Saturn. He needs that. Saturn's a big key to this system. They call it the bridge. So it's really one of the most difficult things when you're trying to bridge those two realms and connect the people to this realm as the ladder there. It's just you have to use your critical judgment to not pick apart people and judge them. That's my biggest fallacy, is looking at people and it's thinking that something isn't as efficient as it needs to be. There's energy being wasted. Hey, you should do it like this. It would help you out, save you time. It wouldn't cost you so much money if you did it. I'm always thinking of ways to consolidate, break down, make most efficient, make most simple, put in the most original order. And it's funny, my most special partner in the world, deep Aquarian, 8 different planets, stellium, and 8th house Aquarius Capricorn line, and she's not even here. So I mean, I'm constantly like, where we are true mates, because she's the air, she's that positive air, I'm that negative, and 2 90-degree angles right there make a cross. That makes a real object. So that's where you learn to, when you work with the opposite elements, and that doesn't mean 2 like elements can't work as well. 2 negatives make a positive. 2 positives don't cancel each other out. You're still a positive. You know, a negative and a positive, you get a negative. So a negative body is something that attracts and builds as a body. We're in a negative system. We're in that negative bar is a center line. That's why the center of our spine is the dorsal. It's the doors to all. It goes kind of up and down. You got your triangle down here going down your sacrum, and then it goes up here to your little white triangle, your little pineal area, and it's got your limestone, and you've got your deep sulfuric gas pit, and then you've got what we call the story of Golgotha and the Christ story and the chakra system, and which are just organs. Organs are how you feel your soul. So the soul interacts with your organ.
The Golgothan thing we did on the South Park, right, with Mr. Hankey.
Yeah.
That's. I feel like that's what's going on. People have lost their cultural connection to this thing. Like, you know, in South Park, they hang out with Jesus, but they've lost their connection to it, and so they want to have a less and less offensive celebration of a holy day, which leads to the Golgotha. I mean, like, that's where we're at.
I know it. And that's the thing. All of this can be very much enjoyed, and we can participate in it, but we have to see it for what it is. We have to, it's like a cosmic joke, you know, all the people that are putting out all these news headlines I talk about that I just shake my head at. It's just their expression of the times, you know. They're just going along with the symbolism that's in the sky. They're telling the same story I am. They're just telling it in their own shitty flavor of a way, in my opinion. It's just, and a manipulated, they've got the people. When you own the consciousness, which is the news and social media, and that's, I mean, everything's going to get so attacked. Nobody's going to want a digital identity coming up. I mean, people are still going to use digital sources, but analog will be a big discovery. Again, we're going to discover the real analog. We're going to discover what shortwave versus long wave technology is, and we're going to understand what we're doing as a shortwave centered system. So the shortwave is the earth and the ground itself. That's why there's a certain rules and principles to grounding to get to a null earth ground, a 0,0 node, and you have to go 8 feet down, certain diameter. And then if you notice, this is where all your miracles come from, your piezoelectric technology, throw something at a certain angle on a bed of crystal, you know, made out of a certain material that connects to this atmosphere, air going around it up top, and you've got a Baghdad battery at a huge level. And that's what they were making in our system. I mean, that's all of the starports, the Tartaria buildings, all of this is connected to the sky. All the big players made big sun and moon things in their cities. So you have one sun, which is the courthouse typically, and then you've got one moon, which is also ruled by pretty much the 2 largest buildings right there. Knight of Coins, is that what it was? Okay.
Do you see that? Brittany sent in $1.50 for another card pull, so I was like, well, that's funny. Of all the things that you'd get for a card pull for $1.50, you get a Knight of Coins. So that's a bit of good luck right there. It wasn't upside down or anything.
Let me give some quick analyzation. Hold it up real quick, and we'll check out the Knight of Cups here real quick.
Yeah, let me pull it back up. I'll put it on my forehead. It seems like that.
Or no, Knight of Pentacles?
No, it's Knight of Coins.
Knight of Coins, I got you. So coins, pentacles. So coins here, I mean, look at the times, Jupiter, Saturn. The coin is the real currency. You're in a real currency year. Can paper hold a current? No, paper can't hold a current. Can a coin hold a current? Yes, a coin can hold a current. Look at the media. What is the media telling you? Are there coin shortages right now? Yeah, you know what? There's a shortage of real currency going on. They're showing you. The Knight of Coins right here is telling you the real currency is going to return to us here. Look what it starts with. He's waving the red flag. The red comes from the black, the first to emanate. It all starts with the red. Saturn, baby. Saturn's bringing a new currency right here. It's going to be metal. It's going to be a coin. Who the heck knows what the heck there's going to be for. I mean, look at the explosion in the background. White horse. Whoa, you're going to get the Christians. You're going to get all of them. Do we have wings on the chest and the solar plexus? Look who's showing up. Pluto, baby, gold wings. It's the gold light coming from the black, the center light, which is the choice maker. So, and you see it, it's shrouded in white. You're going to see the cloth of the white everywhere first, and then out of the white in the center, you're going to see the gold. And the gold is going to be the real choice maker. You're going to see the red wave, the white flash, and then the gold show up in the center. And it's going to be, see, it shows you what is the white horse pulled by. It's pulled by the center, by the gold, and it's pulled by the middle. Mid L. What are the letters between E and L? F, G, H, I, J, K. Fuck. That's what we're in. We're in the middle.
Well, let's call this one a set, and then we'll do this again. My God, you got to come back.
Word, brother. Word.
We could do more tarot sometime because I've never really done that before. That was great. I'm glad we did that. But everyone,
it's fun, man.
If you're looking to talk,
I've got a couple different decks too. Yep.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you're looking to talk to our buddy Barry here, come on, and he's Barry Sinewaves on the Discord. So go to the tartarynova.com. If you guys remember, tartarynova.com can get you to this link where, yeah, it'd be great if you send us money, but even if you didn't, you can click on the Discord radio chat, and it'll get you where you need to go. So, I mean, that's kind of that's a mental paywall. Like, if you feel like you could and you should, then do, but otherwise,
right.
Like, be here.
It goes to a good cause. I mean, it's not like it's going to hurt anything. It's only going to keep forwarding truth. I mean, it literally funds you to have a lifestyle, to travel around, and to help absorb the truth that's out there and to expose it to the people.
And even right now, there's a lot less traveling with COVID, so it's pretty much just going towards making this work right now, which is pretty rad.
I heard that, man.
I would put even another. I would affirm what you said based on also this. We just changed T-shirts, so we were doing T-shirts for the cool. T Public. And now we're using a local guy. These people, Teespring, actually, UPM showed that he uses Teespring. So we looked into them. They actually partner with people that are local. So you can get the T-shirts made by people wherever you're at. It's not much more affordable, but it's a huge difference for the people that are making the shirt because they're in the United States and getting paid to make the shirts a reasonable wage, which is fair. And we have really cool shirts, I think. These are even cooler than the ones.
Those are badass. That's it. Spread the recent Tartarian, man.
We have the wraparound one that's for Tartary Girl, Tartary I Need You, and we even have Tartary fanny packs, Tartary like masks. If you because now they're making you wear them. So if you're gonna have to get a mask, get yourself a Tartary mask to at least your advertisement. And if you got a girlfriend or if you are one, get yourself some Tartary girl leggings.
Or if you're a guy and you have a spandex fetish, I mean, there's no rules.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm going to be wearing all of these all the time. But even if you're just punk rock and you need some Tartary socks,
that's it. Man.
Literally exists, man. It exists now. So check them out. But we also have dude designs and chick designs. Like if there's anyone who feels like it's more, you want a more metal design or you want a more new vaporwave design, and also. APM exists now, and that's how we're getting the normies to hang out with the crazies, and it's totally
that's right. Yeah, you brought in super crazy side, so I mean, we're pretty far off on the. I mean, some of you people that might have watched tonight, and it's just a hard time. I mean, bear with me and bury the sine waves, and it will all make sense. You just start soaking in the experience and just stop. Make it stop at you. Know that your thoughts. Know that you are the choice maker. That's it. You're done. You can stop thinking. I mean, you don't get to go where we're going. Where as light, you don't think there's no thinking anymore. It's not like that. So I mean, that's for here, and that's okay. It's not bad. We all have different universes. We are all cosmic star seeds. Every single real human that has real light shining inside of them, that is not pure reflection, whatever you want to call some thing walking around thinking it's real. I mean, there's really the story behind the wheat and the chaff in the Bible, how you have to let them both grow up together, is very necessary. And we're at that moment where all of a sudden there's just the wheat left. What happened? Yeah, man.
All right,
You gotta get the
I
light
got
on.
told we need to have a couple more cards read. So we just did 4 cards. So what we need? We need a full 10. All right, hold on.
Yeah.
Do this properly. If we're gonna, we're getting into. I keep telling you we're gonna quit, but I think we just have to do our job all the way through, man. That's just real.
Right.
Well, okay. So let's see. First one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of swords.
8 of swords. There we go. So swords are air, mind. We're just talking about the mind, you know. And if you notice this 8 of swords card right here, where the swords are straight up and down. So that's showing you once again metal pole straight up and down, Jupiter Saturn year. And what builds it? It's how you reflect. Thoughts are your reflection. So when you have thoughts inside of your head, which are swords, which is the element of air, which create that polarity air circle in the center that absorbs everything, that's your reflection system. And it's showing you that you can build your real city right now with that. The 8 is space. So 8 is significant of consciousness, Uranus. Look at Uranus. You're in us. Yeah, it's real space. So that's the letter A. And the big A is and that's time. That's Saturn. 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9. It really did. I mean, it was a good snack. It was 9's the way to be in this system. 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 360 degrees, 22.5 degrees. It's all geometric shapes of 9. So if you're going to get out of this system, you got to understand 9 all the way. The 9 is also the 6. The 6 and the 9 are also the G, also the E. These are all symbolic of each other. They're all showing you what's happening to this one thing that they're all playing with. So what do we got next?
I wish I could argue with you, but then the next one was, well, I pulled these 2 at the same time, but I think it goes Queen of Coins and then it goes the Star. It might go the Star and then Queen of Coins. But that's how that happened. So I feel like they were kind of jumbled together in a way.
That's pretty awesome. So first of all, the Queen right there is showing you what does the Queen do? She's the provider. She's the watcher of the house. She makes sure that everybody has what they need. So it's showing you right here. Once again, I mean, we're getting huge coin coming in. Queen of Coins. I mean, this is really, look at this aura. It's showing you.
Is the devil whispering in her ear?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. So here you have the magnetic rays in the background. She's holding a golden coin. But look she's got temptation. She's showing you where the real value is. See that what she's holding down there? That's the snake eating its tail. It's showing you that, look, there's many levels of wealth. So it's showing you right there. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the pentagram star of Venus right there. And then you've got, that's the skin. That's literally ensnared and encircled. It's our center node, and it's trapped by Jupiter right there on its outer edge, eating its tail, which is your gut mind. That's why your gut, the chemicals you put inside of you down there, go up into your brain, and they make this chemical storm happen up here so you can access things. And if you don't have a good gut-mind connection, that's why fasting and crap like that will break down that outer wall, so all of a sudden you can get a flood in of new spiritual energy. Fasting's the quickest way to heal anything. We've known that for many centuries, and now they're going to take that away too. They could ban this video from me giving medical advice, so I'll shut up now.
I've had it happen. I've had it happen to me. I can't believe it. For sound video. Yep. Here's the Star card.
So this shows you right away.
Snake is.
It's showing you. Did that pop with the Queen of Coins?
Yeah, those came out the same. Yeah, so I was like,
okay. So the star of the show. Do we have a number associated with this card?
Yeah, I gotta turn it around to read it.
Is that 12?
17, I think.
17. Ooh, it's prime number, baby, right there. 1, 7, and we're getting another 8 popping up. The root of that is an 8. 17 is the second instance of 8. So you're looking at second meal, lunchtime, high noon right here. So it's showing you the star of the show. We have, look at the blue field around the edges right there. It's showing you everything in this system is birthed in water. We're in water world very much. Water is the cell salt in the middle is that white crystal growing, which is that woman. We sit in Ma as this crystal right here. That's how we reflect all this. That's how you take your willpower, everything you've ever done in your past lives, and it all reflects here. Right here, it's showing you. Look, she's pouring out the water. We've got an Aquarius element to it. She's showing you reflection. She's showing you where she comes from. Look at that true head down there. Look at it. Doesn't, you don't see a head reflecting up like a mirror. You see the foot. That shows you where the center is. It shows you where the reflection's emanating from. It's very big. What do we got next?
The Knight of Cups.
Knight of Cups. So this is gonna, we've got second Knight card tonight. It's showing that Knights are very big right now. A Knight is the waist shower.
Is it Napoleon?
So a knight is that warrior. You know, the king is the graduated knight who's been victorious through battle, who can sit there and has no more questions. He's the king. You ask the king, and he answers the questions. So the knight is on his way to this position. So the knight is on his final battles. So you're looking, what has he got? He's got the cup. The cup is the feeling, the astral. So it's that deep emotional feeling element, the desire system, the empath system. It's that intuition system. This is what I play in most of the time right here. I let this water system, think of electricity going through water. Well, it can go really far. We're in sound world here. So we think of a whale in the ocean making its, I'm not even going to make a whale sound. That wouldn't be too good. But think of a whale sound going through the ocean and how good water is at carrying information in terms of a thought through electric sound. So your water system holds your connection to your membrane. Your membrane is outside of your little brain. It's your big ass brain out there that can give you everything. I mean, you just need to, the inner voice can kill you, or it can put you into the deep occult, and it can give you anything you want. You got to be pure. If you're not pure with it, it'll get taken away, and it very quickly. And it's a very responsible thing that you're touching when you're playing with that. So whatever you're willing to know, you're willing to do. So I mean, it's one of those.
This one's supposed to be the not included, but I felt like it had to be pulled because zero.
What do we got?
I think this is 10. Let me count it right. On 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's no numbers on it, so you have to count 10 of, is that swords or rods? Is it rods?
Okay. So we've got, I know them as wands. Rods are good here too. So we've got fire. So this is the creative element of fire. If you think of on traditional, very bare bones traditional, these are called the wands, and you think of the leaves that grow out of the tree in the springtime. So this is showing you right here, this is a perfect card right at the end. The wands are showing you the last ingredient required, the germination, the fire that's required to push it out. You need that heat that brings the volcano up to get it to the surface, to show itself above the surface. And did you say that's a 10?
I think so, because I see 10 over there.
Pluto, baby, perfection. I mean, just shut it down. Look at that. Oh.
And the face also, I wonder, what does the magic face represent?
So the magic face, in my opinion, is going to be the 45-degree angle of Pluto. Look at the eyebrow. It's showing you the 45. 45 is movement. It's our maximum sidereal transgression line. The furthest things we know about in terms of our sidereal system are Pluto and Chiron, and now we're starting to learn about some stuff outside of that. But in terms of astronomical knowledge, turning it into astrology knowledge and how this reflects from our position and what it means, Pluto and Chiron are the height of where we're at in terms of what we can know almost. I mean, we can very much know things outside. Pluto sits on the deepest touches of movement. So it's showing you right there, Pluto 10 coming in. I mean, it's happening. It's on. Look at that. The deep, dark. Oh, see how there's a crystalline aspect to it with the face showing in a prism. That is the sulfuric gas that made the prism that is reflecting the light that we see here that turns the system green, which is the color of the middle, which is carried by, what do we have carrying this? Is that a panda? Oh, your audio cut out. Are you on mute? You are? Okay, so.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to get it because the green screen was erasing it, but I think it's Jesus.
Oh, wow. See, I've had a ton of butterflies coming up in my life right now.
Monarch butterflies on Jesus. That's pretty weird.
Yeah, I'd watch Mondays coming up. Monarch, Monday, Arc of the Moon. We've had a lot of moon stuff popping in on these. You know, these are all messages from Spirit whispering to the people that have ears. I mean, everything's there as a little hint, as a little gift of, hey, you know, you might not know what this means yet, but you remember that monarch you were looking at, boom, it's going to hit you 3 days later, and something on Monday when some arc word, some kind of arch, or, I mean, literally, it'll hit you, your consciousness. All these little pockets of things that you absorb sit in there waiting to be, you know, connected and put into synchronistic fashion around us.
I think we're going to do more tarot. If people give us money to do tarot, that's fine. That's fine.
Dude, we can do. If people are going to support truth through tarot,
yeah,
dude, I got some. I mean, look at this. I got wheels behind me up here. I got to complete that wheel, but that's all removable. I can do anybody's quick charts. We can do world events that are happening. I mean, there's a lot. The stars make everything possible. You can literally look at anything. If you want to know about any aspect of an event, you can pull up the event and then you can ask the question, and you can look to what would answer that question in terms of how the chart, the aspects. There's always a what, which is tropical, what choice it's making, sidereal. So you've got the past, the present, and the future. So the past is playing in the now, which is planning the future. So you've got this middle bridge of the air marrying the two systems. So this polarity center is the sidereal system, and it's the center of all astronomy and astrology. That's why it's the only where there's a real body. It's a cross in space. So whenever you have a cross in space, you have something perpendicular to a transgressed line that just goes, and then you all of a sudden go sideways. That's the breadth system. Breadth. If you take the the reincarnation system, means again and again and again and again. If you take out of bread, you get bad. That's a bad mother. Pluto, baby. I'm telling you, these are all words we've been taught mean horrible things. You know, you think of the set of sounds bad, and right away we just think of all these horrible concepts in us, and it's not how it works. It's just totally different. And people gotta just look at it. You gotta look at it. You got ba. Ba is also a sheep sound. I mean, a B is a symbol, an A is a symbol, a D is these are all marks for sounds, and sounds are aspects of light that are slowed down. You don't get this stuff coming out of my mouth from right here. It comes from a faster area that you can't see, that I am connected to, that really pushes together with pressure. This thing right here that we call Barry sine waves is really everywhere except right here. This is the space pushing it together. You at your most beautiful core are a pressure system. You have all these deep, fine pinpoints of pressure that you move around, and they do things to you. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to mess up our pressure chambers, our systems. I mean, we all turn into stars from here. You're all going to be parents. You're going to be gods, and then you're going to go off into retirement, feeding the birds and just fishing by the creek, and it's going to be great. You guys are going to love it. I mean, it's this place is beautiful. If you're one of those people that think this place is boring and you look at this place as just something you can't wait to leave, trust me, I have that problem a little bit too. I get fed up and I say, let's end it, take me the hell out of here. I mean, I say those things, but immediately I get humbled and realize, man, I'm playing in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful world, and I have no idea. I could do this all day and not even scrape the surface of what we're in. Nobody could. What does that tell you?
That's exciting. I mean, you should have a fire in you to like look around and know and crave. And if you don't have a light inside.
Get your priorities in line. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It should make you smile. It should give you like a big joy to know that you're so important and special and a deep aspect of the cosmos, that everything depends upon you. And it's always going to be that way. It doesn't matter how badass any of us are, or as a family of light that makes a star together, you're only as fast as your slowest part. Everybody will agree on that. There's all roads lead to Rome. We're all going to end up in the same star energy together. So we might as well get used to each other. Do you want to push this down the road into another body you're going to have to do in another 30, 40 years again? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, seriously, it's the time right now. We know that. It's it. If you're not actively out there doing, you need to be, if you care. We don't have a lot of time left with this conjunction energy. You've got another 4 or 5 months to stamp in some big impressions on your willpower system. Opportunities are lost when the truth comes out. So you don't get to choose anymore that you were able to find all this truth once it's told to you. You don't get to read the end of the story on your own. You get the end of the story told to you. So you still have time. Go find the end of the story. It's in there. You can do it. Because I'm freaking lonely, man, and so is freaking Andreas. Come on.
Right? Yeah. Hang out with us. I was going to say, come on to Discord, guys. Make sure you talk to Barry Signways. Piertoreme was,
That's it.
Username is.
Yeah, user number 3195, I think, something in that ballpark.
Naturally,
Piertoreme.
We should all move past names and go back to numbers. But yeah. All right, guys. Much love to you, and thanks everyone for watching. And come back soon. We'll do this again soon, man.
All right, Andre. Take it easy. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Recent Tartarians.